Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Good morning. Just dropped off my daughter at school. It's about 7:45 in the morning. Some nut is gonna come and see this tractor at 8 o'clock. Notice that there's no gas in it. It's been sitting here for about, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. From my recollection, I think this is ready to go. I think I rebuilt this engine. That's right, I put a new piston in. And this should start. I don't recall anything wrong with it. And it ran just fine. Tires still hold air after 2 weeks, so that's good. Let's see, got some gassage in there. Think it'll start? Murphy's Law. Whenever I'm showing a tractor to somebody, something goes wrong. So you know when a guy is a tire kicker, right? When he shows up in a minivan. He comes over, he looks at it, he's had 11 of these, he says. But he doesn't seem to know very much about it at all. He says, oh, I thought it was a hydro. And I says, well, I wrote it was a 6-speed, you know? He's like, oh. And I said, you had 11 of these? Anyway, there's a little bit of a fuel leak coming out here. The needle is getting stuck, or it's stuck open, you know? I'm gonna put a real quick fuel shut off. I should have brought pliers. This is gonna be kind of messy. As long as you hold this up. The clamp on, get that fuel shut off in there. Now the fuel will stop once you have it on there. Of course, you could use some kind of clamp or something like that to stop the fuel from coming out, but just a real quick fuel shut off thing. And I'll drop the bowl sometime, and you know, it's only because I haven't been using this for a while, so just bang the thing a little bit, it'll stop dripping. But you put a fuel shut off here. 2 seconds, see what I mean? Of course, now I smell like gas. But on to the next thing. So a guy texted me about looking at a snowblower. This is one of those free snowblowers that I found on the street. Or maybe somebody gave it to me, I don't remember. 5 horsepower Craftsman, 2 cycle, putting some True Fuel, 50 to 1, already mixed fuel. It's been dry for a while. I remember it started right up when I put the electric start, but it was a little finicky when you tried the hand started. So we're going to try to figure that out today before the guy comes, or before I meet him, just to make sure that you can pull start this no problem, you know? But it does start with the electric start. Alright, let's prime it. Choke, key on. the docket, we've got this American Cleaning Equipment Incorporated professional industrial power washer or pressure washer with a monster 11 horsepower Honda engine on it. So I got this from Nick Iardi over in West Iceland. Frozen. See what I'm saying? So there could be two things. It's been sitting for so long, there's no gas in it. Probably a rusty tank too. Sitting for so long that the flywheel has rusted to the magneto maybe, or just the joints are just rough, you know what I mean? I did check oil. There is dark oil in it, you know, but I would like to know whether or not the connecting rod is connected, you know, and that maybe we can get this going. Another thing is the water pump could have had a lot of water in it and it sat for years and that rusted seized. So if that rusted seized, maybe this crank just is loose, but because it's attached to the pump, it's not going to move. I think to rule out the pump, I need to remove the pump. So I'm going to put you on time lapse, remove these things here, remove the bolts holding the pump, remove the pump completely, and have it disconnected from the crankshaft. That way we know the engine is by itself, and if it doesn't turn, it's for a reason in the engine flywheel, not the pump. That's probably the easiest way. I just want the engine. I don't care about the pump. You know what I mean? You got to test it anyway. You know what I mean? You don't even know if the pump works. As you guys saw from time lapse, removed this cover. It was a pain in the ass. Removed the pump completely. When I had it tilted, there was some kind of fluid or oil dripping out of it. Here we have, there's the crankshaft right there. Okay? So I've got these big channel locks here, right? And check this out, fellers. I unseized it. Sorta. I know, I do that a lot. No, I think this is aluminum. It's not sticking. Kind of stuck there. I don't know why. Over here. There we go. Compression stroke. I don't feel any compression. It's free moving. Maybe, actually. Let me try pulling this. All right. Nice. That's awesome. This is water. Water drained out of it. Yeah, it feels like it has a little compression, but there might be a compression release for 11 horsepower. Pretty easy to pull, but you could feel the compression though. You can hear it too. Should I remove the air box and try to squirt something in there? Let's do that. But yeah, it was totally seized. This is choke. This is open. It was on. Carburetor here. Should I just squirt something in there and see? On off switch, move it around a little bit. Just so if it's rusted, you're rubbing off the metal there, so the rust off, so that it makes contact with on. Spraying some contact cleaner from my friends over at Lucas Oil Products. Point down. Now we have combustible fuel going into the carburetor. See if we get a spark. Now remember, these Hondas have an low oil sensor on there, so if it has too little oil, it won't start. So if we try this and we keep going and going and going and nothing happens, then we'll have to find a disconnect that wire. All right, it's on choke, so now we should put it on choke. Wiggle the spark plug boot. Let's get it off choke, half. I don't know, it seems really easy to pull. Then we check for spark. Just remove the spark plug and check for spark. If not, we'll have to disconnect that low oil sensor. Dry. Even after spraying that stuff in there. Looks okay though. Not a lot of carbon on there. Let me stick a screwdriver in there and just make sure that connecting rods are connected. Got a spark screwdriver sticking in the hole, and it is connected. Look. Now let's check for spark. Bubba, be quiet. Okay, good news. Check it out. Ready? See the spark? Got spark. This is pretty clean. I'm gonna spray some carb spray in the hole. And I'll put this back in. Okay, we know we have spark. We sprayed a little stuff into the hole. Put some more into the carb. Now carb could be completely blocked, which is why this may not work, right? But we did spray some into the hole directly. So we'll connect the spark plug boot coil back on. Put it to choke. I'm not sure about this throttle. That seems like it's loosening it, that's tightening it to halfway. Ooh, you guys heard that? Success! It runs! Oh man, that's great. It runs. That's awesome. Maximum stokage. Just for the hell of it. Just for the hell of it. Diet Coke. I'm gonna remove the bowl just to see what's in it. Oh my God, that is the worst amount of buildup I've ever seen. It's like an inch thick. Oh, it's brittle. Holy cow. That's terrible. Wow. The float actually moves. You gotta have a clean carburetor for this to even have a chance at running, you know what I mean? And that is not a good sign. I'm gonna remove the rest of the carburetor. We'll just take a gander at how it looks like and whether or not I need to buy a new one. Because for this engine, it's worth it to get a new carburetor because we know it runs. So I removed the carburetor and the fuel shutoff lever is broken, but it moves freely. So now it's on permanently on the on position for the fuel shutoff. When I blow into it, it does open up and the needle is moving in and out and it does seat, but there's stuff in it. So look, it doesn't look too bad. Throttle moves freely, the flap. The float moves freely, spring loaded. It doesn't look too bad, believe it or not. It's cleanable. I'm gonna go check how much. Look, even the choke mechanism works very well. Sharp clicks, crisp. That's not terrible, you know? I'm gonna remove this pin. Decent. Nah, that tip's DONESKI. I'm gonna check and see how much a new carburetor costs. It might be just worth it to get a new carburetor instead of trying to fix this. Not to mention this pin. This pin's DONESKI. It's just pushed in too much, you know? So if I'm gonna buy a new pin, might as well just buy a new carburetor, you know? So that's what I'll probably do. It's a miracle. I have loosened the inner jet. With a carburetor that looks this rusty, I had zero confidence this would even move. Not to mention the fact that I don't have good luck getting these jets out anyway. But it's moving. I can't believe it. I may be able to salvage this carburetor after all, because I thought the inside shaft here was going to be completely rusted to hell, you know, but it's actually moving. Another thing to get it actually out, you know. You guys know what I mean? I almost have to like tap it and stuff. Ooh, ooh. Hey! Holy cow. Incredible. So I got that out, and look, I wiped down the needle, and the rubber popped back into place. It was like compressed before into like a pin. Now look at it. It's nice and round. I'm gonna try to clean this carburetor. Clean the carburetor pretty well. It's cleaning the bowl. A lot of rust in it, and then I saw, what do you guys see? That's right, you see holes in it. So this bowl is DONESKI! There's pinholes in it. I gotta find another bowl. How am I gonna find another bowl for a Honda? It's not like I have a ton of Honda parts. So, I was wondering if I had a Honda carburetor somewhere in my shed. I usually list all my parts. So I just looked in my eBay store, searched for a Honda carburetor or Honda anything, and I wasn't selling any Honda carburetors. So I must have sold them all, or I don't have one. I was pretty sure I don't have a Honda carburetor because I don't really work on Hondas too much. So I don't have a bowl for this. Even though I think this carburetor is clean and it'll work, I don't have a bowl. And you have to have the exact bowl, you know? And I wanted to try it to see if it works. So, I JB welded the holes. I'll probably order a carburetor anyway. I want to go see how much it is first. But it'd be a shame if I can't use it just because of the bowl. And the carburetor seems to... I mean, I think it'll work, you know? So we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I was checking out the gas tank. And given the look of the carburetor, you would think the gas tank is trashed, right? But actually, I shined a flashlight in there, and yeah, there is some rust buildup in there, but it's not rotted or anything. It's not bad. This little collar here, I had a collar. What happened to the collar? And anyway, it was, oh, I'm holding it. Duh. This was all full of rust and stuff, and I just grinded it pretty clean. So there's a little collar that goes there, and the gas cap. I mean, I'm telling you, whatever. Anyway, so I've got a bigger problem, and I'll tell you why. So on the golf cart, right, on the crankshaft to the engine to the golf cart, there's a screw that goes onto the pulley. Well, this one is this kind of pulley, the teeth, right, and it's affixed on here through a hex screw diagonally that pushes down on the keyway and the key that holds it. And that's how this is affixed on here. There are no threads in this crankshaft. So even if I did get this engine running, and we know it runs, right? Even if I wanted to put this engine into that golf cart, how do I even put the existing pulley onto this shaft with no threads? So that's a pickle. That's a pickle, man. So I put the carburetor back on. I'm gonna wait for the JB weld to cure for the day. And then tomorrow I'll put the bowl on. We'll put some gas in the gas tank. And we'll try to start this baby up and see if it runs on its own without spray. In the meantime, I'm sure you guys would tell me whether or not there's a way for me to affix the existing pulley from that engine onto this engine so that it would work. I'm sure there's like a centrifugal type of thing I could try to. As for this pump, it actually moves freely. but if you look at the meter, it's stuck on 2500, unless that's just an adjustment valve. I'm not sure, don't know anything about it, but it's pretty rusty. Even though it does move freely, I don't have any use for this, so I'm just going to throw it to the curb. I was thinking about removing this pulley too, because maybe I might need it with this belt someday, you know, but I don't think so. So I'm just gonna chuck it. It's a big piece of metal, very heavy. I took that two-stroke snow blower. I sold it for $100. Oh, what a score. It did start right up right away, you know what I mean? Pretty reliable. I don't even remember where I got it from, but I know I didn't pay for it. I haven't paid for something in like 2 years already. Anyway, what's the story with people anyway? You know what he shows up in? A Toyota Camry. And his trunk is full of tools. You know? So I had to spend some time helping him get the handles down and stuff. Well, he had plenty of tools. So it's the next day, and I feel that the JB weld on the float bowl is nice and hard. That's what she said. There we go. It looks good. I think it might work. Only one way to find out. Let's put some gassage in here. There is some rust in here, so I'm a little worried about the rust particles falling out, getting dislodged into the fuel line, but I think there should be some kind of fuel filter in the petcock on the bottom. You know, we're just gonna put some in here, and hopefully the fuel will flow into the carburetor. Trickle, trickle, trickle. Should be going into the carburetor. Let's hope we don't see any leaks. It's possible, of course. But I'll let it sit for a little bit. There, it's starting to leak already. I see it. And it is coming from the JB weld. So it looks like I have to buy a new carburetor. But let's try this out anyway, right? It's on choke, fuel is on. Give it a little throttle. What do you guys think? Think it'll start and run? Let's see. I don't know why they put the muffler here. Put your hand there. Well, all right. Aside from this thing leaking, this engine runs pretty good. Obviously, you heard it surging a little bit. Sometimes with machines like this, it will surge a little bit if the carburetor is not completely clean, you know. And then, but after it runs a little while, usually engines start to stop the surge. But looks like I'm going to order a new carburetor for it because the engine seems to run just fine, and it's worth the money to go and buy a new carburetor for it. Also, you know, you can't have it leaking like that, and if this engine is going to be in here eventually, right, you want it to be a nice reliable carburetor. So I'll order a new one, so it'll take some time. I'm leaning towards putting this engine into this golf cart because Well, I mean, I've been working on this thing for about a week now, and I can't figure out the wiring. It's just spaghetti in there, you know. And I think it would be much easier to be able to just get a working engine, put it into the golf cart so the golf cart can go, and then I could work on the brakes and stuff like that. You know, otherwise this is gonna go into the winter, and I don't really want it to go into the winter, you know. Anyway, let me shut off that fuel and order a carburetor. So to make sure that we don't have any issues in the future with rust breaking off and getting clogged inside the petcock, if there is a filter, I think there should be like a mesh one that keeps stuff off. And by the way, when I was putting my hand here when it was hot, burned my hand. I don't know why they put the muffler right there with the same side of this pull, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna remove the gas tank. I'm gonna drain it, and I'm gonna clean the insides so that there's no rust that will fall out. It's only 4 bolts, 10 millimeter, I believe. Huh. This one's rude. Okay, I gotcha. I'm gonna take off this. I'm gonna take off the gas tank. I was taking off the recoil starter bolts. It's 12 millimeter nuts, 4 of them. And this comes right off. I'm gonna disconnect the fuel line and hope that I don't make a complete mess. Just remove the air box and the carburetor because you want to get access to disconnecting this line over here. My hand hurts. There's the gas tank right there. We've got a little clamp on there, but it's kind of leaking still. So what I'm going to do is, since I already have gas in here, right? I'm going to throw some nuts and bolts in there. Shovel it around. The weight of the nuts and bolts and the agitation, along with the fuel, will sort of clean up the rust that's on the bottom of the tank, and then we'll drain it all. And that is the best way to clean an interior metal gas tank. Blisters. I'm going to pour out the good gas that I just poured in there. I want to see just how fast it contaminated the new gas, and I could pour it back in, but I wanted to see. Wow, that tells you it's pretty dirty inside because, oh man, there's a lot of stuff coming out already. Got a whole bunch of these 1/2 inch, 9/16 nuts and bolts that have a nut and a bolt on it. The bigger they are, the heavier they are, as long as it fits through this hole, it, with gravity and agitation. I hope I can get these out later. But people use ball bearings and stuff like that, but if I don't have a whole bunch of ball bearings sitting around, which I don't, we'll throw these nuts and bolts in here, right? Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty, da 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 da, shake your booty. Hey, it's an entertainment channel. Add some gravy. It's like stirring the sauce a little. Because I love this engine and I mean, this is worth a lot of money. I figure I'd do an oil change on it. That's right, Henry doing oil change. Ooh, look at that. There's some water in this oil. It's light brown. When you have a combination of light brown, water mixed in with it. So I'm glad I'm doing this. This is no good. I'm gonna put some fresh oil in here. Doesn't seem like much of it either. But it has a low oil sensor, so if it didn't go off, it's got to have enough oil in it. I'll probably try to tilt it a little bit, get all the oil out. I tilted it to the side, left, and rear, so that it's all coming out. And it stopped. So a good amount of oil came out, and it is, you know, poo-poo color, and that is about a quart or so. I did research on it, and it takes 10W40 is the recommended, and you can put 10W30 in it or 20W50, they say, but the recommended is 10W40. I was wondering if I even had any 10W40 because that's not a grade that I usually use. But in my welcome box from Lucas Oil, being sponsored another year, I had a sample quart of synthetic S times S engine oil synthetic blend SAE 10W40. This does take 1 quart 0.16, so I'll throw a little bit of 1/6 10W30 in here just to mix it up, staying with the synthetic. I don't know why some engines are designed this way. The dipstick hole is like at a slant, you know what I mean? And the side, you gotta kind of lift this side and then pivot the thing. I mean, it's so difficult to add one simple quart, you know? Wish they would have some kind of vertical reservoir, which would just let you pour it right in, you know? Anyway, so I'm adding some of this 10W40 as recommended, synthetic, from my friends over at Lucas Oil Products. While I was waiting for the oil to drain, I used my beige mower and mowed my rear lawn. I know I always said that I never had any mice in the area because I've never actually seen one. Well, guess what? While I was mowing the lawn, I saw one. I think that's a mouse, right? Oh, it's a cute little guy. I feel terrible. You can see the little round circle of my burn from the nut on the muffler shield. There goes my hand modeling career. So it recommends 1.16, 0.16 of 10W40. I only have 1 bottle of that. So I'm just gonna, the other okay thing to use is 10W30. So I'm just gonna add 1/16 of a quart. That's it, 1/16. Yeah, that's 1/16. That's it. Oil change finito. I believe this model has the capability of adding a starter motor here. As you can see the way it's shaped, it looks like a starter motor could go right in here. But then this part is solid. I think maybe you could, this part here is made a little bit very thin, so you could just like break it, tap it, whatever, and make a hole here to put the starter in. Also, as you can see here, there's a grommet that looks like a stator wire could come out, so you could actually put a I don't know if this flywheel has teeth, but you can buy a kit that has the teeth on a flywheel, comes with the starter, a switch that you can put on like a dashboard, and I believe the stator too. I think that's like $100. I don't think I would spend $100 to put electric start on here. I think I might try to adapt the starter generator motor in there to put a double stack pulley here somehow and spin it while it's on, and that would be the same, mimicking the same thing as pulling the cord, you know. So I'm gonna try to get that done. That's gonna be a difficult project because I'm out of my element there. I don't know what I'm doing, you know. But I'm really stoked about this engine for it to run 11 horsepower Honda too. I mean, this engine alone is worth like $250, $300 right now as it sits, you know, maybe. But I want to try to use it for the golf cart. A Honda powered golf cart. How about that? So that's it. That's my episode. Getting a power washer, commercial industrial power washer with a Honda Gx340 horizontal shaft engine to get it unseized and running. Ordering a carburetor for this, cleaning out the gas tank, did an oil change, and this engine should be good for trying to mount into the golf cart eventually. It's a long-term project, I know. I hope I don't make it into the winter until I get that thing running, but I think the best chance for the golf cart to actually drive and run is with this engine, because I don't want to spend another $150 or so on parts just to maybe figure out the electronics on that engine. Plus, that engine, as you remember, had a massive oil leak on the bottom, which I have no idea where the oil is coming from, you know? So if you're looking at logic, right, you should use the engine you know that works without spending a ton of money to say maybe that engine will work, right? There will be some modification issues that I'm gonna run into, but I'll always figure out a way to adapt or modify the crankshaft to work with the variable drive transmission pulley system that they have on a golf cart. And then eventually work out the charging method, the starting method, and all that stuff. But number one, I want to get that golf cart running, you know, with a running engine in it, and then unseize the brakes in the back, because I don't think you're going to have any brakes, you know. It'll probably run, but you won't be able to stop, you know, which could be kind of dangerous with a cart that size, you know. So almost half a ton, you know. But anyway, thanks a lot for joining me on today's Honda engine unseizing and tune-up. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers. Hey, if you guys enjoyed the video, remember to give me a like. Also, comment below. Subscribe. Remember, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It's free, right? Also, hit that little bell. That way you'll get post notifications whenever there's a new video, and you won't miss out on any of them. Remember to follow my Instagram and Facebook, as well as, if you'd like to donate $1 or $2, paypal.me/mowersandblowers. Really appreciate all the support. Also, to keep the videos coming every day, support the channel. Bye.